Hi, this is Mark Christensen from BI Dimensions. Have you ever needed to save some information temporarily while you're doing a whole bunch of BI jobs? Well, I've got just the step for you. It's the Serialize to File and Serialize From File steps. The place that I found this really useful was one day I had a whole bunch of different BI jobs I was putting together, and I found myself loading the same information repeatedly from a database. So what I did was I set up the first job to load that information, and then I serialized that data off to a file. So in subsequent jobs, I didn't have to go back out to the database and suck all that data back in. I could just go out to the file and load it in. Now, one alternative is to just dump it straight to a text file, but that's not as efficient as the serialize to file. So let me show you what I'm doing here. Here we have the generate rows step, and I'm going to generate 1 million rows. And in here I'm going to have a number, a string, and a date. And here you see the values of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the number. This is a test for the string, and 4/1/2014 for the date. So if we go ahead and preview this, you can see what it looks like. And it's just a whole bunch of rows with that same stuff in it. I will then pass that information both to a serialize to file step and a text file output. Let's look at the serialize step. Here I'm just placing it in a file. I'm putting it in a temp directory, and I'm just naming the file serialize.pentaho. And you can also select the options of do not create the file at the start of the job, which means that when it starts up, it doesn't create it until it absolutely needs to. You can also add the file name to results so you can use it later in your transform. So simple as can be, not much to it. And as long as we're here, let's go ahead and look at this text file output. Now in the text file output, I'm just putting it to serialize.txt, and the contents I'm just doing regular, quotes to enclose it, separating it with semicolons, just kind of the defaults. And I'm storing number 1, string 1, and date 1. So let's go ahead and run this. And it runs pretty quick. And yes, we'll go ahead and save it. And it goes ahead and runs. Just takes a few seconds. And you'll notice here that both of these steps are running at about the same speed. So dumping the data out, okay, so we're done. Serialize took just a minuscule less time, 10.7 seconds instead of 10.9 seconds. So writing it out doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Now, if we go and look at the files though, the serialize.pentaho is much smaller. It's only 106K. Serialize.txt is 46 megs. That's an amazing amount of difference there. So we also see a lot of performance difference when we go to serialize from the file. So now we're taking the matching step, the serialize from file, and here I put in the same file name. And you can limit the size if you want. You can also add the file name to result. So it's just simple as can be. So now it will read that information back in from that file. Now likewise, we also have the text input here. And we're reading in serialize.txt. And we specify the fields. We have number, string, and date. And of course, we have to put the format in there. So let's go ahead and run this. And we'll go ahead and load the information in. So we're sucking in those million records from each of those. And when we're all done, you can see here that the serialize from the file, or deserialize from the file, took 9.2 seconds, which is a lot quicker than the text file input of 12.4 seconds. Of course, there's a few seconds here and there. If you just have a few million records, it doesn't make much difference. But if you have tens of millions of records, it makes a big difference. And so it can really speed things up. A couple of cool things to keep in mind. The serialize to and from file, you don't have to worry about the data and what contents it is, because here if we just look at the sample, you see it automatically knows that these fields are named number 1, string 1, and date 1, and all the contents of it. So you don't need to specify anything. It saves all the meta information in it in the serialize to file and retrieves it all when it does the serialize from file. Another important thing to keep in mind is this is just really for temporary data, you don't want to use this across different versions of Pentaho Kettle, because they don't guarantee that it'll work the same from version to version, but within a version it works great. So if you have some data that you want to save, maybe on your nightly BI job, you can save it and then restore it in other jobs. Well, that's about it for the Serialize to File and Serialize from File. So if you have any other questions, feel free to stop over at BI Dimensions and leave some comments there. Otherwise, I thank you much for your time and attention, and I'll catch you next time.